Okay, today we have a podcast interview with Edinboro 8. This is an exhibit of the painting faculty of Edinboro University. The exhibit runs from September 4th to October 2nd. And with me I have Ben Gibson from Edinboro University. Welcome to the gallery, Ben.
Thank you.
And the first question I'd like to ask is, at what point in your life did you realize that you were an artist?
Probably when I was a teenager. I always liked making things and drawing when I was a young child.
What do you mean by making things?
Well, I would make little boats and forts and things like that, like most kids do.
Right.
But I would try to make them, very detailed. I didn't have the skills, so I added a lot of imagination. I just kind of made it up as I went.
Sure.
And I was pleased with it, but it wasn't accurate at all. And then I went to art school to be an illustrator. And while there, I really taught myself how to draw. We had drawing a lot, but the school is mainly for people who already had a lot of skill. I needed to build up my skill. And then when I graduated from there, I wanted to study painting more and not just illustrate. So I went to a local school that at that time had really great faculty. Good luck for me. And so I studied painting there, and then I was encouraged by a couple of the faculty to attend graduate school. And that's when I thought maybe I might want to teach. I wasn't thinking of that at all when I embarked on my undergraduate studies.
Sure.
But I applied to a few schools, and I got a grad assistantship, and I went to grad school, and I think I improved my creativity there, not necessarily my techniques there. And over the years, it's been a struggle, but I've improved my technique, I think, to a certain level so that I can express what I want to say in paint.
Sure. And what inspires your work? Sight, sounds, nature, music, people?
A lot of things. Mainly right now it's nature. I live in a wooded area. I have for many years. And probably 10 years ago I was still painting figures, which I did for a long time. And in the figure paintings I started to include trees. And the trees I made up. I didn't really look at trees, study them as an artist, but I just kind of made them up, and I didn't like how they were turning out, so I started to draw trees and look at them more specifically. And as time went on, I became so involved in looking at trees and their colors and things like that I stopped painting the figure, and in a way the tree is a replacement for the human figure.
Sure. When you find your work, do you actively seek out what's your subject, or is it just you just stumble across it?
Well, yeah, you could say I stumble across it, but I'm on the lookout for certain things. Something that has a lot of contrast of color or contrast of form. Like, for instance, the swamp. Stump there was a contrast between the reddish brown of the rotting stump and all of that green and blue green and yellow green. It was something that I immediately thought I want to paint that, or you might say I was inspired by that.
Is it mainly because of the challenge, or is it just what appeals to you?
No, it's not a challenge. All my painting is a challenge. My selecting process is really based on something that has a certain quality, a certain contrast, kind of like opposites, something alive with something dead, something maybe cool colors versus warm colors, something like that. There's usually you might say a metaphorical thing that I see or I project into the subject, and that makes me interested in it, or it's sometimes a formal thing, but usually it's both of those things. There's something there that intrigues me in terms of, say, an idea or a symbol, or like I was just saying, some type of metaphor. You know, with the stump, you have death and you have life. I mean, it's more than that, but that's what crossed my mind when I looked at it.
Mm-hmm.
Or you might say that it's death and rebirth. It's like the idea of a life everlasting, and once you go that direction, you start to think about possibly religious connotations, what the cosmos is really about. It's about matter and energy that keeps revolving on itself. You know, all of those things kind of run through my mind.
Right.
And then when I start painting, other things take hold in my mind, and I start to change things a bit in terms of maybe painting some things out that I don't think are that important, you know, to what I'm trying to say. I change the color scheme perhaps, like in the after the storm, you know, that tree there.
Sure.
It was a black and white photo. And as I started working, I just knew when I started painting that root structure, it had to be red, not blood red, but roots in the ground are not the same color as the bark. They usually are red or orange red. And so that painting has a lot more subjective color to it, color I made up. You know, like the purple on the side there. I thought the color was really nice. You know, it worked well with the other colors. And I like the mystery of it too. That's another overriding factor in all of my work, is a sense of mystery.
What would you like for your audience to take away from viewing your artwork?
Make them think. I want them to think. I don't want them to look and say, oh, gee, that's a nice picture, or that's a pretty picture. Oh, wow, look at that detail, or something like that you hear people say a lot of times. I want them to be moved by it in such a way that it makes them consider their life and life in general. Maybe, and this is a very this is a tangential kind of idea, but it's very important to me. Environmental concerns. I mean, I could paint, and I've made some drawings. I've never made them into paintings, but you know, some type of machinery or man-made things destroying the environment, something like that. I don't approach it that way because it's the same old. I mean, everybody knows that, you know. You know, what I do is for the one painting, the stump painting, it's like I was saying earlier, it's about death and about rebirth, or life continuing on, or everlasting. And I want people to, when they look at that, I want them to be moved and, you know, like, oh wow, a lot of color. I sense the light. And then when they leave, they appreciate that in nature a little bit more. The other painting is just the opposite. It's more of a brooding, serious, maybe, I don't know, more troubling thing. The title is After the Storm, and right away we would consider a natural disaster, you know, a windstorm or something like that.
Right.
But it could be, you know, it could have been a fire. I mean, the tree itself has been obviously cut. The branches have not broken off, they've been cut. So the idea of the storm then becomes, like I was saying earlier too, metaphorical. I mean, it could have other connotations, you know, not nature's wrath. It could have been humans' destruction.
Outstanding. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to talk with us, and welcome to the Crary.
Thank you.
Well, it's a boots and we'll truck on down to a knocked out shack on the edge of town.